right, so it was quite a long time that it took me to get in touch with this man and finally get him to the studio. But, after taking so long to get him, he's reached here before us. Karthik, Gubbi, man, such a pleasure. Beautiful weather in the city, of course. And then to see you sitting on that bike waiting for us. It was a little pissing off for me, though, to see that the guest has come before.
It's all good.
But sometimes I think we in Bangalore just don't go with things, and want to thank you for being patient with us, firstly.
It's all good. Thank you so much for having me, Rio, and thank you for being super patient through the whole process of me giving you all the songs. I think I took forever to do that.
Man, when the artist and the music is so good, I think we can wait, but not for a lifetime at least. But we're glad it just happened. We're glad that it happened.
Yeah.
But, man, Karthik, there's a lot I want to talk to you about in terms of there's so many, mutual music friends, artists from the industry and everything. But I'll start with this. Mechanical engineer. Okay. And I'm guessing you come from the South Bangalore family that is very, very strong in terms of getting your education sorted. Right? So and then when it comes to engineering, oh God, we know the kind of stuff that goes back home.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm just wondering, bro, how did you just manage to... Okay, even if it was like music regularly, okay.
Right.
But I think hip-hop as a genre or rap as an art itself was alien to parents of our kind, of our generation at least.
Yeah.
How did you manage to do this? I really want to know this part.
Actually, a lot of it they didn't know. Like, I think the most recent one is, I think I quit my job in 2019. But I told them that I quit my job last year, November. They thought I was on a sabbatical. So I think I did a lot of things. I used to go for recordings without telling them that I'm going to a friend's place to study and stuff like that. I think most of it I did like that. And back then we didn't have broadband. We had dial-up network.
Dial-up, yeah.
So when the telephone bills used to be like really crazy high, they used to be like wondering like what is happening. I used to download most of the rappers' discographies, Eminem especially. I've done a lot of things without them being aware. I mean, apart from the usual shit what boys do, but mostly I think I used to end up downloading movies, documentaries, music videos related to hip hop and rap, and I've done that a lot, and it's still there in my old system. Like Eminem especially, I think I have about 2,000, 3,000 pictures of Eminem on my...
Wow.
Yeah, just straight up go download pictures which I don't have, like a collection. I was like how Eminem fans are, like a stan. I was one of those crazy guys. Yeah.
Man, the starting itself is so good to know that, you quit your job in 2019, but it seemed like you were on till 2021. Man, that's something, and I think there's a lot more stuff that comes by. But, well, let's get to the basics then.
Right.
So, South Bangalore boy did mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to start rapping today, but something happened.
Right.
Everybody has a turning point in life, and there's a reason for that turning point.
Yeah.
And just like many other boys, you also had to go through that. What is it, bro?
It was a heartbreak. Wasn't really even a heartbreak, actually. It was a one-sided shit. The typical... you're in school and everyone's teasing you with this girl, and then you think you're in love with this girl and stuff like that. Then you try to pursue, and then the girl says "fuck off" on your face. Right? That happened, and then I was heartbroken or whatever, and then I ended up watching 8 Mile. So I think then it kind of put me in a trajectory where I'm like, okay, people go through some actual shit, and it seemed like a nice way for me to let out what I'm feeling. So. Especially when you're a teenager, you're like, you're angry, you're super fucking angry, but you don't know what you're angry about. So I started writing. It was a lot of stupid shit. Eventually got into, and there was a phase where rapping was a very cool thing to do, because I was in a class of 120 people where it was just me and another guy who used to listen to rap. So it's to be like, okay, this is something different, but I'm enjoying it. And eventually became a way of, me expressing myself. I got to an obsessive phase where I couldn't go to sleep without writing. I had to write 3-4 pages. Just take my pen out, start writing. And once it, naturally stops, go to sleep. It was like that.
What about your homework and all that time?
Fuck that. You can check my marks, actually. I think after I started getting into rap is when, the downfall started. I evidently remember this because... I'm going into the space of, okay, what is this new thing? I've never tried music. I've never been a fan of listening to a lot of music. I mean, I used to listen to Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and stuff like that only because my sister used to listen to it. And it was a cool thing, right?
Yeah,
because,
definitely.
Yeah, you grew up...
90s kids definitely know what it is like.
Yeah, so I was not really into music and stuff like that. A bunch of Bollywood songs and stuff like that because everyone's, listening to it. But English music was like, my sister used to listen to it. I was like, oh, she's cool. I want to be that. kind of a thing. And then eventually, when I heard Eminem diss all these guys and stuff, I'm like, nah, fuck them. I don't want to listen to them and stuff. But yeah, that's how it started. It initially started like that. Then went into engineering. Even in engineering, I used to wear double XL, triple XL t-shirts. Again, used to look like really out of place because the college I was in had a lot of people coming from rural parts of India and stuff like that. So because my PU marks were fuck all, my CET I didn't get through. Engineering, my dad got me to a management.
I'm not going to ask you which college, but you're going to say it eventually, so go for it.
PU I was in Christ, so that was the cool phase because you meet all these kids from CBSE, ICSE, and
yeah.
all that stuff. And then I ended up in Oxford, where I was like, okay, where am I? What is happening?
Bomnali.
Yeah, Bomnali. Oxford, but then, you know what? Actually, that was a very nice phase because I used to play a lot of basketball. I used to get a lot of time to work on my music. And yeah, that's where it started. You know, I started getting more and more into it. Orkut used to have text battles. So I was like, it got to a phase where even when I had exams, I had battles to, submit within time. Forget about exams, okay? So we would be given deadlines. It's like this, okay? Let's say you and I are in a battle, right? I'm given a link to your profile and I'm given 2-3 days. Now I have to find shit about you on your Orkut profile, on your scrapbook, your testimonials and stuff like that.
Oh, this I remember. I mean, I didn't take part though, but I remember this vaguely. Yeah.
So we had communities and I was part of this community called Explicit Content where, you could diss whoever, mother, sister, whoever. There were a lot of communities where they were against all of that stuff. Here, you could go on, anyone's religion, anyone's anything. So no constraints. So yeah, I used to spend writing on my exam papers and stuff like that. Question papers, writing down, you get good lines, you write it down. Because anyways, I used to not study.
So, it's okay. There are a lot of us like this, da.
Yeah, I'm glad.
The ones who study and there's just few of them. The best are the ones. There's many of us doing stuff like this who are last minute people.
Yeah.
And trust me, we kind of end up doing well in life. I'm not there yet, but eventually, hopefully, we get there.
Yeah, I think you're doing great.
But in terms, let's coming back to puppy love, putting you and giving you the mic. 10 standard, bro. You can't call it serious love that time, can you?
Yeah, no.
Okay. So when this happened for you, did anyone come to you and say, hey, what the fuck are you doing, bro? It's just in 10 standard. And is this, as far as breakup was concerned, was it really, really hard that it took you this way?
Yeah, I mean, at that time, right? Like, all of these things, that's your primary focus, right? You don't have any serious issues in life. Like, being an adult and stuff like that, you realize that you have actual real shit to deal with. But when you're in college, you have food, you have space to live, you have all the time in the world, and you're not serious about anything. There are no commitments, right? So then all your focus goes into that. And then you're just sitting, daydreaming and stuff like that. And when then suddenly taken away, you're like, you lived in this illusion. Then it's, when you come to reality, you're like, what the fuck happened? That hit me so hard. So you're abusing that person, hurting yourself, saying all sort of shit about yourself and stuff like that. So I think it did feel hard, but I think the greatest way for me was to go in the direction of music, to writing and stuff like that. When I look back at it, then I didn't think that I'm going to be a rapper. And, even I was super fucking scared. I come from a middle class family. So I can't even imagine, being a full-time musician.
And rapper.
Yeah.
Which is alien to most of our parents.
Yeah, actually, a lot of musicians wouldn't consider as musicians, back in the days, like 2007, 8 and all. When I would say I'm a rapper, they're like, what? Forget about musicians, even B-boys. And, not beatboxers, B-boys, a lot of hip-hop dancers used to look at us like, yeah, whatever, he's a rapper, kind of a thing, And
I'm guessing this is what even you would have been looked at then, because rappers suddenly, okay, this, even in karaoke, I remember watching this, and this happened in most of the places, like fests or whatever.
Right.
You would be like this filler for events.
Yeah, oh my God, yes. Yeah, it starts like that. Even for movie songs, one of the movies I rap for, it was literally 2 lines. And that's all I had to do in that entire song. So yeah, sorry, you were saying.
I mean, I understand that pain point that you have, right?
Yeah.
Just those fillers and stuff, and then suddenly the crowd goes berserk, and then you're forgotten.
Yeah.
Right? And that has been your journey, but to understand a little more deeper in sense of when did you start taking, of course you were writing lyrics, I'm sure you were writing for the industry, the movie industry as well.
Right.
But that shift to get on stage, do you remember the first time you hit the stage, rapped, and what was it like?
The first time I got any platform to rap was in my PU itself. So we had a rap battle, a competition. We asked for it and stuff like that, and it was so weird because like I'm facing people, and I was an introvert actually. I was super scared. My hands used to be sweaty. Knees weak, arms.
Knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
Yeah, but on a serious note, I used to be super nervous, and you know what? After I became a stage performer, my hands stopped sweating. So, but then I remember this rapper called Colin. Rest in peace. He passed away. When we thought we were really prepared, me and this other dude from my class, and then Colin comes, he freestyles and goes away. I'm like, what the fuck? Who's this guy? Kind of a thing. That was my first experience. More than me performing, I remember Colin's performance more evidently because before it started, there was this beatboxer called Abhishek or Abhijit, I'm not sure.
With Colin.
I asked him, like, have you prepared? Because we were given a topic, Big Mama's house, if I remember the topic right. And I asked him, like, you're prepared and stuff. He's like, nah, man, I'm going to freestyle. I'm like, yo, are you kidding me? Like, you did that. So imagine the potential Colin had, like, yeah.
Just to add to that, I've met Colin a couple of times. Like, we've done stuff, not for me, but then in terms of, as a brand for another company together.
Right.
Bro, that boy, his potential was, you could say sky was the limit.
Yeah.
But knowing the kind of artist that Colin was, he was someone who was, I wouldn't say laid back, but was too chill.
Yeah.
He was really, really chill. But when he would take the mic, he would kill.
Yeah.
That boy was, rest in peace, and memories of his music remains with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I remember him going to one of those indie contests
MTV
on Indies, I think it was called.
No, I think
Rock On.
MTV Rock On. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so proud to see a Bangalore boy, and I think Vineet was with him, Deep Kumar, who's now a big boy himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, these two boys went, and I think they got the crowd going.
Correct.
While at the first audition itself.
Yeah.
And I knew there was talent in the city, man. It was just that, some people were probably stuck with a normalized pattern of society.
Right.
And I think our generation is where that started breaking.
Correct.
By now, a lot of people in our generation should have got married, but here I am, and many like me, who are trying to break that stereotype and get into something.
Yeah.
Man, that is some memory to bring Colin up, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where you started off.
Yeah, so that was my first experience on stage. After that, it was in my engineering itself. I think I was in my second year, and I think I performed at farewell party for my seniors, and that's the picture I have of my first performance, where I had gotten this T-shirt printed with the Eminem E, and I had my bandana and wearing a cap, and that was my kind of like a performance. After that, and then next was Forum Mall. So they were having they were having the anniversary or something like that, and one of this group of kids from my college were doing a fundraiser there. So we performed there, and that was like again the first public performance. And Forum people liked us, so they got us back. So we performed 3 more days at Forum. So after that, next thing we performed at was Twitter's festival, where I got to meet Terminal and a Quarter and Parvaz and stuff like that. So I think it has been like jumps initially, because there wasn't really a rap scene. I think the only other people I knew who were rapping was Colin, of course. There was Machas with Attitude, Brother V, Smokey, and another guy called Big Nick. Then there was Lowriders, this bunch of 4 artists. Apart from that, there was another rapper called Abel, who's an entrepreneur now, actually. Abel Thomas, I think.
Matthew, I think.
Abel Matthew, I'm not sure.
Yeah, this guy, he's come from abroad or something, from US or Canada.
Correct, right. So him. Apart from that, there were no rap performances. So I think whenever there was a performance, it was like a huge thing. Then eventually college shows, and then
But college shows is where you start off also. No? That's where you start building the audience.
Yeah. First was at my college itself, and they wanted to cut short our set. And I remember Mechanical Boys, they're like, hey, they stood in front of the console and they're like, you're not going to stop. He's going to perform his entire set. And we had a 10-minute set, which was our entire set. So.
And this is in Christ or in Oxford?
In Oxford.
Oh, Oxford let you rap and all, no?
Yeah.
Man, that's...
No, big love to them actually. Recently I went back as a chief guest and there is a different feeling going back to your.
Man, I just want to give you a hand for that because I'll tell you what, this is a story that this is a story. I'm sorry to leave you hanging, but this is a story that comes a full circle in life,
Yeah.
where you start something off at a certain place and
Yeah.
you go back there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'd have also wanted this to happen sometime in your life, that I go back as a chief guest to my alma mater.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that. Yeah.
That is something else.
Yeah.
But as we get into to understand you as an artist, right? So it's college performances, and then let's say you finish your engineering,
Right.
And this is where your focal point in life is.
Yeah.
Career, passion.
Yeah. Right.
What did you do? Was there anyone involved in helping you out in what you did, or what was these freaky things that you did to where you are today?
I think some of my friends always were like, you should do it. But actually, a lot of us didn't know. Like, I think one of the artists I had a conversation with was with Brother V. When I was still in my engineering, he had dropped out. Then he did sound engineering. Then he put out his first mixtape. Then he called it an album called Death Punch. And I'd met him to buy that from him. And that time is when I got to know that you can study something called sound engineering. Right? I was not aware. And then I was like, shit, he's done it. I don't have the balls to tell my parents that, fuck mechanical engineering, because I'd fought for it. Just before I joined engineering, my parents took me to a bunch of their friends, relatives, to brainwash me to do...
I was waiting for that word.
Do electronics and communication or do IT, because IT was fucking booming back then, and they're like, oh, you have to do IT. I was like hellbent. I was like, if I'm doing, it's either automotive engineering, if not mechanical engineering. Not like I had great marks, but then I knew I had a thing for cars and stuff like that. So yeah, from that to wanting to quit and do sound engineering seemed like a no. Then I got my first job. I was working as a teacher. I was teaching a mechanical software at this one of these CAD centers. Not CAD center, EduCAD is the name of the place.
Okay.
There also, I had nice friends and colleagues, who always supported, what I was doing. There I worked for, again, there also I didn't work for, I think almost a year. I worked there for a year. There also I did part-time. After I think 7 months, then I told I wanted to work only part-time. Thinking I can do something with my music. And also I was learning German at that point in time. So that happened, and then I didn't know where to go next, because I quit off that job as well. And I was like, shit, what do I do now? Do I pursue music? Do I study music? Or do I go abroad? Because that was the initial plan and stuff like that. Then Mercedes happened. And when Mercedes happened, it was a dream come true. Because as a kid, I think working for an automobile company,
It's also Mercedes.
Yeah, and I didn't know there was Mercedes in Bangalore. Like, I knew there were showrooms and stuff. I didn't know there was a research and development center. So when that happened, I was like, yeah, it happened. First of all, I don't know how I got through that interview. I rapped in my interview, actually.
Oh, really?
In German.
Do you still remember it?
Yeah. I think it goes like, in mein Kopf gibt es viele Fragen, die Antwort kommt nicht nur viele Fragen mit das, kommt noch keine Frage, warum nicht die Antwort, nur die Frage. Which basically means...
for me, it sounded like, I think Volkswagen should hire you, BMW should hire you, Audi, and Mercedes is just a start.
No, I think I had a very cool manager, actually. So I had written in my resume that I rap, so in German, and he was like, okay, rap. And I was like, wait, am I really, interviewing for Mercedes?
Oh, this guy just taking a trip on.
Yeah, I thought he's just having fun. And he laughed. So this was the first round. It was through telephonic. And he laughed, and then I'm like, I'm not getting that call back. I just entertained someone for free. Then I got a call back to go for, the one-on-one interview. It was for one whole day.
Oh.
Yeah, like there were about 6 rounds of interview total. And by the end of it, they were like, okay, you're in. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Did one of my dreams actually come true? Did I end up in Mercedes? And then I got really into the job, So because it was something I always wanted to do, music kind of took a backseat. And it was still a cool thing, They're like, you say that I'm a rapper, and then there also I did a couple of performances and stuff like that. But then, once you get into a regular job, right, something starts missing, And then you're like, fuck, I think something's missing, Then I went back to making music again. Yeah.
Man, but you were telling me that, a lot of people think it was through influence or something you got the job. What did you actually do to get into Mercedes?
So because I had a certain amount of German knowledge, I had done 5 levels of German, and I was a basic mechanical engineer. They needed a German speaker in the team.
Huh.
The particular team I joined, they were specific about having a German speaker. So yeah, they had. I mean, I didn't do great in the last technical round, right? But they were happy with how I was in terms of interaction and stuff like that, and what project I had worked on during my engineering and stuff like that. So I went through, and when I went through, then I realized everything you've learned in engineering is of absolute no use. Is some 150 years old shit that you're learning. It's actually very sad. There's nothing practical about it. I was learning everything from the scratch. So yeah, I was super good with my job. I got my first promotion within 6 months and stuff like that.
Oh God, you're probably getting some people wonder what the fuck have we been doing.
Yeah, so they thought, like, I remember this one junior, he called me up, and I think after like 3 months or something, I got into Mercedes. He called me up and he's like, Macha, who do you know? I'm like, no, I actually went through the interview. It's like, hey bro, I won't tell anyone. Tell bro.
No.
Hey Macha, tell. I was like, no, I seriously got through. So a lot of people, thought or probably still believe, from my college circle.
I mean, that also is like when you have people like us who don't, do well in marks, you're always going to think this guy's got some pull, bro. But of course, there was no pull on my side to do anything.
Exactly. I think when you get into a 9 to 5, at least some people see your, how street smart you are, how you're able to have conversations and stuff like that. I think that somehow helps.
And I think that's the case with a lot of us. I don't want to boast about the city, but I think the city does have like a huge amount of street smart people.
Yeah.
And I think that's also because the weather just plays such a huge part. Yeah. You're not aggressive. You're not aggravated most times.
Yeah.
You're calm.
Yeah.
And that's a space to think.
Right.
A lot more. And I don't think you get that space when you get into a corporate job.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Right? So you're always complacent of doing the regular 9 to 5 or whatever, 5 to graveyard shifts, these different kind of ones, and then you lose out in life.
Yeah.
But I think some people say you get paid very well in a corporate job. Some people say passion doesn't give you money. But I think when it comes down to passion, it takes time.
Absolutely.
Right? So you have to learn to handle both together, like get a job, till the day your passion starts feeding you. I think you need to hold on to two things at the same time.
Yeah, it's like this, okay? It's like you want to earn from your passion, or if you want to do justice to your passion and eventually make a living out of it, you have to give in all you got. But then at the other side, you're like, okay, you know what, I need money too, right? So it's like, it's different for different people, because I know a lot of artists, like for example, Harish from Agam, right? He still works, he still has a job, and he managed it, and they are brilliant musicians, the band. But I also know people like, say, Brothervi itself, right? He quit his engineering itself. He studied sound engineering, and he's one of the smartest artists I know. Smartest people I know, actually. Like, he got into making music full time. He was patient through the whole process, and he is where he is now. So I think both sides works. Whatever works for them, right? But for me, I personally feel like I should have quit my job long ago. But then I had certain learnings to pick up from my 9 to 5. And when I eventually quit, I was like, what the fuck was I waiting for? Why did I take so long to quit? Is the feeling I had.
But that again, each one's life is different. The pace at one moves ahead also is different.
Yeah.
And so whatever you accumulate is also like different from what the others are going to accumulate. Yeah. So everything happens in one's life, not at the same time that happens to somebody
absolutely.
else.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I don't think you should have quit earlier. I would say it was meant to be the way it is, and you are still killing it, Bugger. So there's nothing to be worrying about all this.
That's nice.
Right? You've given us 30 songs. You know how many people gave us 30 songs? 0.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So that is as far